From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Scott Wright, OSU beat writer. Scott, Kansas comes to town on Saturday, 11 o'clock start up in Stillwater. And while the Jayhawks may not be an opponent of much consequence down towards the bottom of the Big 12 rankings, Les Miles returns to Oklahoma State for the first time since he coached the Cowboys. Been more than a decade now, but lots of memories being thrown around, lots of history being talked about. You had a chance to talk to Mike Gundy a little bit about Les Miles on Monday earlier this week. What do you have to say about Les?
Well, it was a lot of fun. He had a lot of memories from. It really interesting was that some of his favorite memories were from the 1995 season when Gundy was the quarterback's coach. Miles was the offensive coordinator for Bob Simmons. He said that's when they really dug into what they were doing offensively and going over game plans and butting heads in the meeting room and all of those sorts of things. He said they spent a lot of hours in there together, and said even when it got rough, they always came out on the same page, and that's why they were so successful at moving the ball as they built that program. And then obviously Gundy comes back with Miles in 2001 with Miles as the head coach, runs the offense for 4 years there before taking over as head coach. So, Gundy has a lot of really strong and fond memories of the guy. He still calls him coach, which I really enjoy. So, this is a guy that he really looks up to and is really close with. And now, first time on the opposite sidelines in their entire careers.
And it seems like you talk about Gundy's fondness for Miles. It seems like it's a two-way street. Les Miles talking during the Big 12 teleconference earlier this week. I'm sure he was asked about it too in his press conference in Lawrence. But just his memories, his thoughts. I mean, he talked about that win, that Bedlam win, the 16-13 game. Rattled off the score. Said those Bedlam wins were among his favorite memories of his entire coaching career. And this is a guy who won a national championship.
Yeah, absolutely. He says 16-13 are numbers that are going to remain one of the most important numbers in his career, being the score of that 2001 Bedlam game. It was a huge victory for him, a huge victory for the program, really kind of a milestone victory in what not only Miles and then Gundy have been able to do. That sort of started the train on the tracks, and so that was a really great moment for him. Miles loved his time in Stillwater. Kind of weird to think that actually 15 years ago Wednesday of this week was the last time he coached a game in Boone Pickens Stadium. So the timing works out a little bit fun, but he's returned and got to see what the stadium looks like now, and has sort of enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, brought his sons to football camp, so it tells you he still very, very much has an affinity for Oklahoma State. I guess the last question, Scott, is what this is going to be like on Saturday. Again, he did leave and went to LSU, and that departure was a bit acrimonious in some fans' eyes. And, obviously the success that's come since then, people might even sort of think differently about how important Miles and those 4 seasons were for Cowboy football. What's your suspicion about how people will receive Miles? Will there be cheers? Will there be boos? What do you expect to happen on Saturday?
All of the above to start, but I think the majority will be cheers. I think that there are some people that are still really upset about the way things ended in 2004, and those people are going to make their opinion known. But I think there will be a majority of people who appreciate what Les Miles did for Oklahoma State football to really start building the foundation of what Mike Gundy has created now, and a program that went on to win 10 games several seasons since Les Miles has been gone. So I think that there are enough people that appreciate that and remember him fondly that they'll outweigh the folks who are still a little bit upset about what happened at the end of 2004.
It's going to be interesting to see how they recognize him. We don't see a lot of past Cowboy head coaches come back on the other sideline. Will there be some sort of recognition? And if there is, what's that going to sound like? What's that going to be like? All questions that will be answered on Saturday morning. Again, 11 o'clock kick for the Cowboys and the Jayhawks. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.